Welcome to Chat with Kat, everybody. I have a very special guest. I've been trying to get this guy on my show for like, I don't know, maybe 2 months.
Yeah.
But I finally got him. I'm super, super stoked. This gentleman, he is very, very knowledgeable on all things your finances, your credit. And he can even give you some advice on real estate because they have a nickname for him, which we'll mention later. But he does work in the nonprofit sector. He is an operations manager. So that should tell you how qualified he is. Being that we are in this type of socio economic climate where people are still trying to be a part of the American dream in real estate and buying things. I actually invited this gentleman. His name is Nathan Beauchamp. I said it right.
You got it right.
I actually invited this gentleman to two actually homeowners workshop. We did the first one back in May at the beautiful El Dorado. So super thankful for the staff over there for making that reality. Sorry, making that wish a reality. And he was there and he gave a lot of information. And then he came back and did tacos, tequila, and Tidal at the Total Wine in Plantation. And he brought his better partner, which was
Love that.
Glorines, but she gave us some information. So here he is again on our platform to discuss all things again, credit, finance, and real estate. So welcome to the show, Nathan.
Thank you, Kathleen. Pleasure to be here.
So tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Later myself, well, you can also say I'm born and raised in Puerto Rico, I'm Latino descent. I moved to the US probably 30 years ago, and I find my passion about helping clients, helping individuals very early in my career. So I started working in nonprofit industry over 20 years ago, from consumer credit to other organizations. We went from a small nonprofit into a nationwide nonprofit, impacting the life of all clients, all the way from Puerto Rico to Alaska and anyone in between.
Wow.
And we have been very instrumental in actually tailoring not only to the American market, but also to the Latino and other markets, especially in the indigenous communities as well.
That's
So
incredible.
a little bit about me.
That's really neat. I had no idea that it expanded as far as to the Latin market, especially in Puerto Rico.
Yes.
Wow, that's neat. So, like, what led you in that direction? Not so much in the nonprofit for what is it that you do? Because you have such a vast knowledge for, especially for finance, credit.
Yes.
Like, how did you go in that direction?
Well, to be honest, is in a very young age. It's like when I moved from Puerto Rico to the United States, I realized how important it is to have good credit. It's like in the US, yes, money is a king, but credit is way above that level. If you have
Yeah.
good credit, it opens the doors for you, not only in the financial world as far as getting loans and credit cards, it also impacts your job opportunities, your insurance opportunities. Even if you want to rent an apartment, at least the landlord will do a background check on you, just run your credit. So credit is very important. So for a very young age, like some of us go through, you don't have that education. You just don't. When you're a kid and you go to college, you're kind of like clueless. You have an idea what it is, but you're not really educated on the best behavior to maximize your credit. So I started digging into it and was curious about it. And just for my own personal journey, I said, this is very interesting. And I think I have to technically share this with others. I've been the kind of person I like to help anyone. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what kind of need you have. If I can help you, I will go out of my way to help you. So I decided to explore this nonprofit world and this financial world and start helping clients becoming homeowners, create small business, improving finances overall. It's just me. It's just something like some individuals, some people have it, some people don't. I'm one of those people, same as you, Kathleen, and your team. We just want to help. We just want to empower people to do better. That's what I mean.
And I appreciate that. I really appreciate how you mentioned that you're just here to empower. Some people will say that, those who are religious will say that's a ministry to help. And then some people will say that that's their sole mission is to help empower people. And a lot of times is a lot of times like stuff like this, credit is something that's not taught in schools. And that's something that they really should implement because I didn't learn until COVID, during the COVID time, because we had all this time and I used the opportunity to actually work on my credit because I'm very transparent. I had very terrible, terrible credit. And it was funny because and that was kind of what prevented me from buying a home because my scores were low. So now
Yes.
even though I joke around and I said that our tacos tequila, I'm late to the party, but hey, at least I'm in the party and I'm trying to actually, empower myself to buy a home. Kudos to you and kudos to the nonprofit that you're part of for making people's dreams come true because, home ownership is not very easy. And in credit, and again, no one teaches you that. And it's great that individuals like yourself are so empowered or not empowered, are so passionate about teaching people about that. So let's dive into credit and home ownership. So it is one of the biggest hurdles, like I mentioned, for first-time home buyers. They get tripped up with credit cards, like you said. They get tripped up, with making the correlation between, having this credit and having it to pay it back. So what are some of the biggest misconceptions people have or still have about credit?
I would say that the biggest one, I would say my credit is bad and there's nothing I can do to fix it. You can always improve your credit history. One of the definitions I like to share with my peers, my colleagues, my clients is credit is technically your reputation on the eyes of the lender. If you
Yeah.
have bad behavior in the past, they're going to assume you're going to have bad behavior in the future. But guess what? We can all change that any given time. You can say, you know what? I'm changing. I'm going to educate myself. I'm going to do better. So the big misconception is I have bad credit. I cannot qualify for a mortgage. I'm not eligible for it. I have to find someone else. No, work on yourself. Is it going to take a little bit of time? Absolutely. But when you put up the work, it's like, first of all, personally, you have immediate reward. You will feel proud of yourself. That sense of being proud to accomplishing something that you did on your own, you're going to carry that over and it's going to help you improve your credit. Everyone's credit can be improved and it can be better. Is it going to have a magic wand that is going to fix between one day and the other one? No. It's going to take some time, maybe a couple of months, 2, 3 months, but you can always improve your credit history.
Okay, perfect. So I know that with the nonprofit that you're part of, it has a unique approach to improving credit scores. Can you walk us through the process where someone might, what someone might experience after, if they just reach out to you after this podcast? Like, what did you or your team do to get them ready or to, I guess, to get them started? Like, what's the initial process?
I would say the initial process is to make a full financial assessment. It's like some clients, they want to have immediate change. And like I mentioned before, it's not that they don't want to put up the work. They may have a need that they have to improve their credit score immediately. In the organization I work for and any nonprofit I worked for before, whether it's a HODAP organization, NFCC, or any other nonprofit out there, we're here to educate and empower the individual. So we start with an assessment. We want to know where you are, what you want to be, what your goals are. Then the next question is not what I can do for you, is what are you willing to do to accomplish your goals? It's not my income, it's not my budget, it's not my credit, it's yours. So as an individual, you have to tell me what you want to do, how realistic it is to accomplish it, and we will guide you. We make a full assessment. We go over your income, your budget, your credit. If there's anything that can be done to improve your credit score per se, maybe there's any discrepancies in your credit report. Maybe you have to open a new credit line. Maybe you have to lower your debt ratio. We will guide you on that process. But at the end, it's about empowerment. It's like I can teach you everything I can to make you do better, but you have to have the will, the willingness to do it.
Okay. So what is a realistic timeline? Like you said, it really starts with the person. They have to have the will, the drive to want to be a better person. So what does it realistically look like for someone who has bad credit to mortgage ready? Like how long, what is a realistic timeline for someone who might be watching this?
Well, I'm going to give you a couple scenarios to make it
Okay.
can be realistic on both sides. For most of the demographic that we serve, if you don't have savings, you're starting fresh. They say, hey, I just met with Kathleen and her team. I want to buy a house. I don't know where to start. You're probably looking anywhere from 4 to 6 months just to start getting ready because we have to work on your credit. We have to work on your savings. We have to work on your budget, maybe reduce some expenses budget wise because credit is not the only factor for homeownership. You also have to look at your debt to credit limit ratio, debt to income ratio, your front end, your back end ratio. Can you
Uh-huh.
afford the house that you want to buy? So we analyze all of that for you. So if you're new, you just started the process, probably up to maybe 6, 7 months if you really put up the work. Now, let's say you already have a head start. You already know what you were considering to do. Maybe you have savings. Maybe you have a retirement account or some kind of account that you can tap into. If your situation with credit is because of maybe collection agencies, high debt ratio, and you have the funds to either pay that up right away, negotiate, settle, or if it's an error, dispute it and correct it, it can be as fast as 2 or 3 months. So it all depends on the unique situation of the client. If you have the funds, if you have the tools to start working on your credit immediately, it can be 2 or 3 months. If it takes you some time, it can probably be around 6 months. It all depends on your drive, depends on your passion and how much you really want to put up into it.
That's really good. Um, okay, so it doesn't just end with credit, not credit, home ownership. Like some people will say, okay, I bought the house, I bought the condo of my dreams, and then they go back. Maybe some and others might go back to their old habits. How does credit affect other areas of their lives financially besides buying that house?
After buying the house, most people will tell you now you have a bigger loan, you have a different tier on your credit history, and you do. Your mortgage is probably going to be your biggest loan in your credit history, the biggest secured loan that you have. But if you're not careful, it can also backfire on you. So it's very important the client understand and have some kind of guidance. That's what we call pre-purchase. And then during your purchase, get some counseling as well. And then if even after you buy a home, there's a post-purchase piece. You need to understand as a homeowner, you're responsible for everything on that house. Just
Yeah,
because you can afford the payments and you can afford the house, that doesn't mean that life will happen. It's going to happen. We're in Florida. We're going to get hit by a hurricane or some kind of emergency sooner or later. So you have to be prepared. So you have to be ready. Like if there's a disaster, you need to have savings. You have to cover the emergency. You have insurance. You have taxes. You have HOAs. There's other factors that you have to be fully aware. Most homeowners, the mistake what we usually see in the industry is you buy a home, now I want to have brand new furniture. And as soon you buy a home that your name becomes public record information, you're going to receive pre-approved credit cards and loans left and right. You have a brand new home, congratulations. Let's now go and buy furniture. Let's put a brand new roof. Let's put solar panels. And it sounds amazing and you're so excited about it that you forgot mine. I'm getting back into debt. My debt ratio that I worked so hard to lower to buy a house, all of a sudden is going to increase slowly but steadily. It's going to increase. So you should have the mindset, keep the same behavior that you had before you bought that house. All the adjustments that you make, all the sacrifices you make, continue that same pattern. We talked about it briefly during our panels just a few weeks ago. Have that mindset of you bought a house, continue having the mindset of I want to buy now another house. I want to buy an investment property. So if you do keep that mindset, all you're doing is resetting yourself. Don't get any debts that they're not a need. It's just a want. So as soon as you can measure your need versus your wants, you should be okay. Now, like you mentioned, how is your credit going to be affected after this? Opportunities is really open the doors for you to access other credit lines. You're a different tier of clients for the bank. You also now have a big asset under your name. Probably one of the biggest investments you're going to have is going to be your property. So you have to be very careful. One of the biggest temptations I see, especially after your first year buying a house, and depending what the market does, people want to use the equity in the house to
right,
either do renovations or
right,
maybe pay. The biggest one is pay your own secured debt, your credit card debt, and your small loans. And the question I ask the clients, why do you want to convert your own secured debt into secured debt attached to your home? It doesn't make sense. I know it makes sense on the payment and the interest rate, but if something were to happen to you today and you cannot pay your credit card debt, you do have options without jeopardizing your home. If
right,
you get a home equity loan or a second mortgage to pay off your debts and you can no longer afford to pay your mortgage, you're just putting at risk your home, the place that you live, the place where your family stays. So
right.
those are some of the biggest concerns that we see after homeownership.
Okay. So let's jump into your journey in buying and actually rehabbing.
Yes.
So during tacos and tequila, Miss Glory said that you guys have they have a nickname for you. What is that nickname called?
And they call me Bob the Builder. That's what they call me.
And tell the listeners, why do they call you Bob the Builder?
Well, the main reason is I'm a very handy guy. I'm a very hands-on person. I like to learn. I like to educate myself in all areas, not just the financial side. And I like to just honestly just put my own blood, sweat, and tears into accomplish things. So a few years ago, in fact, the biggest reward I have, it was right before COVID. I bought a house in the Pembroke Pines area. It was an old house. It's not the house of my dream in any way or shape. It wasn't. It was a great location, but it was an old home. So it needed some renovations. It's like the bathrooms needed to be done, the backyard needed to be done, tiles had to be changed. There's a lot of small projects to do. So I'm a very hands-on guy. Whatever I don't know, I'm going to learn. I'm going to figure out. So I was able to invest in my own home after I bought it. And 2 years later, I was able to make a big profit on the home. So
Nice.
we sold the house. We just moved, and the brand new house that we have right now, brand new construction, that because of the profit of the sweat and tears and the hard work that we did that other home to renovate it, I pretty much have no mortgage payment at this point. So
Wow,
it's a blessing.
that's a huge blessing.
Yes,
Was there any, like, takeaways or any lessons that you had learned in that experience with the old house in Pembroke Pines that you wanna share?
absolutely. I would say the biggest experience is going to be if there's something that you don't know what to do, make sure you have a team around you, someone that you can trust. For example, I'm not someone that works with plumbing. I'm not. I know the basics, but plumbing, electric, maybe the roof. Always bring an expert. Bring an expert, educate yourself. Don't try to cut corners. I know that sometimes you may have someone that you found online or a friend of a friend that can give you a better price. That's okay. Make sure whatever you do it in writing. You understand the contracts. You understand what the terms are. If there's any warranty, what's the warranty? And try to avoid people that want to technically charge you upfront for the materials, especially here in South Florida. We see that very often. You have to make a deposit. If it's $10,000 for the job, you have to pay us 5 or 6 for the material, and then you pay the rest after the work is job it's done. Well, you pay the 6, 7,000, and that person is gone, disappear, and you never heard from him again. So be very careful who you work with, understand the contract. If there's something you can do, you just need some time and some effort to do it. Just educate yourself. Just learn. That's what I did. I became a carpenter, became partial electrician, partially plumbing. If there's something I cannot do, I will find a way to do.
That's impressive.
Thank you.
So, how did you use that experience? How did you merge the homeowner and maybe, I guess, the investor? Because you did use the equity, the hard sweat to
Yeah,
purchase this new house. How did you use that experience to coach I don't want to say clients, but
yeah, I got
your
clients.
clients? Okay. So how do you use that experience or how do you merge that experience when you're coaching your clients or guiding others?
I actually use it for my clients, my peers, my coworkers, and everyone that I can empower in any way or shape. Is guys, sometimes your first step might not be the one that you want. The first house that you want to buy, it might not be your dream house. And it probably won't be, especially with the way the market is right now. But if you're not paying for a mortgage. You're not investing in yourself. If you're leasing or renting, you're paying someone else's investment. So just get your feet wet. Start. You can buy a home. You can buy something, whether it's a home, whether it's any other kind of investment. Start. It's just a matter of just jumping in, do it. Whatever you can do on your own that you don't have to pay someone else to do it. It's money you're saving. The money you don't spend is the money you're save. Every dollar that goes out is a dollar that could have gone in your savings. And that's the way I look at it. It's like, can I have to pay someone to cut the yard and maybe paint the walls? Absolutely. But if I do it myself, I already pay for the material, and maybe 80% or whatever I was paying someone else can go into my savings. That can turn into investment. I can use that money to maybe pay down my mortgage, buy down the rate on a future mortgage. So that's what I did. I tried to implement everything that I have in life into how can it be better for me and my family.
That's
So
good.
I just
Good. In your opinion, what should first-time home buyers understand, like really understand before they jump into rehabbing or fixing and buying fixer-uppers?
a very good team behind you, especially if you have a good inspector, a good realtor. If this is a house that you're considering to probably just flip in the market, have a deeper understanding what you're getting into. do an inspection, go to the inspection if you can, have a contractor go with you. So you have a clear understanding of where the house is at today, how much it's going to take you to invest, and always be prepared for unexpected expenses because they will happen. So have a plan in place before you jump in. If this is something you want to flip, if it's a house that you want to do for yourself, you still need to have a great team behind you. Okay, remember, the team that you build works for you. The team of the seller works for the seller. You need to have someone that will have your back. Like Kathleen and your team, you have an amazing team. You have a realtor, you have a broker, you have inspectors. So build a team around you. And when you buy your first house, even though it might not be the one that you want at that moment, just look for the one that you need to satisfy your needs. Once you get that, you can build slowly but steadily. You can build on it. Once you're ready, you want to flip it, you can flip it. You want to use it as an investment and rent it out, you can rent it out. But now you have an asset. And once you start building that asset, you can move in so many directions. It's insane.
I
So
like
there's
that.
no limits.
And it is. There really are no limits when it comes to home ownership. So let's talk about tacos and tequila.
Yeah.
So, thank you again for coming a second time to our homeowners workshop because I thought you did an amazing job and you gave so much information, stuff that I didn't know. So I was really grateful to have you back. So can you share what your experience was like as a panelist for the second time around and what stood out to you about the event this time versus at El Dorado?
That's a great question. So as a panelist, it's like we have a different mix, in fact, of experts in this particular panel. I know in the first one in El Dorado was more into first-time home buyers, new clients coming to explore the option of buying a home. The second time around, it was more clients that they already have a home. They're looking into an investment opportunity, something to grow and develop. So we have two different audiences. So as a panelist, you have to pivot. It's like in the first one in El Dorado, it was more basic information. It's just how to start the process, how to build your credit. In this particular case, Taco Tuesday, it was more, you already have an asset. You already have a property. How can you leverage that into becoming an investor? Can you rent that property? Do you want to sell it and maybe buy two properties? So it was very interesting. We have an amazing team. Both teams are a little bit different, but around the same topics. But it was a different audience completely. Well, I actually commend you. Both of the events were amazing. I know you and your team, you can do both. You can do first time buyers, you can do existing properties, investment properties. So I really applaud you for
Thank you so much.
that.
Like you said, it was two different vibes for both events, and I think that the energy was really great at this one. From your perspective, why do you think these types of community events is very important in spreading financial awareness or literacy or homeowner education to the community? Like, why are these events important like that?
To be honest, is we always talk about empowering, we talk about education, we talk about knowledge, but not everyone knows where to find the correct resources, the correct person, the person that will be there for you. So everyone knows you can buy a home. You can see advertisements left and right. You can buy a house. There's down payment assistance. There's different programs. There's some insurances out there that you can benefit from. But it's not that you have this kind of events that you have an expert actually telling you what entails. In order to buy a house to qualify for this program, this is what you have to do. In order to get insured, these are the guidelines, these are the do's, and these are the don'ts. Make sure you have an inspection. The reason why you should have an inspection, title insurance. In the very last panel, we have a title company come in, and the owner was talking about how important it is to have title insurance just in case there's a previous owner, there's a lien in the property. If you were to buy a house, if you're buying a house, let's say cash, or sudden you buy the house cash, you give the payment, and there's a lien on that property that you were never aware, it wasn't found anywhere, and then all of a sudden someone else claim 50 or 60% of the house. You
Yeah.
don't want to go into that legal battle to get it back because every time you do that, you're going to spend money, legal fees, attorneys, you name it. So it's very important to have this kind of team just to have the correct message and education go out to the community.
Very well said. As a panelist, what was your biggest takeaway from the event?
I would say the biggest takeaway for me was the engagement of the clients. It's like I have been in different panels, and sometimes the clients are more like laid back. They're more like into, I'm here to just learn. In this particular presentation, we have a lot of clients, like we mentioned, that they were already homeowners. So they have very great questions. What can I do? How do I leverage? If I were to buy another property, what would be the terms on another mortgage? If I have my own business, what are the terms and conditions as a young entrepreneur so I can use my income for my business and my property to buy a second home? So in this particular one, it was very interested. You already have people that is educated at the basic level, but they still eager to learn more. They wanted to learn more is exactly what I'm looking as a panelist. I want someone that's eager to learn so you can teach, encourage, help them change that behavior so they can be successful achieving their goals.
Good, that's good. Were there any questions that surprised you or any moments that might have surprised you during the event that you thought we need to do more of this?
I will be honest, one of the panelists, he actually worked for an insurance company. And he
Yes.
was very, yeah, he was an amazing guy. And I
Right.
know one of the closest, yes, like one of the closest statements, he was talking about the claims and the impact that you may have on your claim. You have so many claims and the kind of claims that you do. And here in Florida, if you have a home, if you don't have a home, you have seen people in the streets that they knock on your door. There's a small windstorm, hail, a storm, and they're knocking on your door. Hey, we can file a claim and get you a new roof and extra money. And it sounds great, peaches and cream. But what they don't know is that you're filing a claim on your insurance. It has so many number of claims going to count against you. It's like some kind of like a credit score impacts your credit. The number of claims impact your record, also the insurance side. So it was very interesting to have someone being so open and honest about how particular industries working in today's market.
Yeah, I was really fortunate to have him come
Yes.
on the panel, but yeah, that was something I didn't know either.
There
I'm
you go.
glad again, thank you so much. So let's pivot into our final segment, which is guidance for the community, because what you do is a big, it's a huge blessing to the community because, you know, again, they don't teach this stuff in school, and in some churches, they don't teach that either. So you guys are really doing an amazing work. So for those who are listening who may feel overwhelmed by their credit situation or don't know where to start, what's the first step you'd recommend?
My first step is going to be get a copy of your credit report. That's the very first step. Okay. If you don't know what you're studying credit wise, get a copy of your credit report. Every person in the United States, they have the right to get a copy of the credit report for free. There's a website, annualcreditreport.org. After COVID, you can actually check your credit history every week if you want to from all three credit bureau companies. Now, just to be clear, when you get a copy of your credit report that is free, you're not going to get a score. The score is a product that the lender used to measure your risk. But to get your credit history, who you are, your credit, your payment, your debt, what kind of accounts do you have, public record, increase, that's all free. Start by getting a copy of your credit report and have an understanding of it. If you're not an expert, if you don't know how to read your credit report, that's perfectly fine. Just call organizations that they want to work for, any non-profit in the industry. Don't pay someone just to empower you. There's so many organizations out there that they can educate you. They're out there just for this reason. Leverage that. Use those professionals in the industry to help you understand your credit and help you set up a plan on how to move forward.
That's good. Is there any other free resources that are available besides the free credit report that you could recommend for those who are wishing to be on the path of home ownership?
Absolutely. There's a lot of resources. You have the free credit report to annualcreditreport.com. You have my FICO. It's to the FICO organization. FICO is technically the most common score algorithm to calculate your risk. So you can go to myfico.com. You can have an idea what your score is at. Your own bank. Most banks in the United States will give you access to your history, to your score, to your pattern, how you spend your money. You can also get a budget in place. There's a bunch of applications. Mint.com is one of them. There's a
Yes.
lot of different applications that will tell you how you're spending your money, what kind of adjustments you can make. You can also go to different lending tools if you're starting home ownership. What kind of loan do you have? Do you want an FHA loan? You want a conventional loan? What's the interest rate? What's the HOA fee? Are you financing more than 90%, less than 95? Are you financing 80%? There's loan calculators out there that will help you prepare for what you're looking for. So online, yeah, I know that sometimes it's not too reliable, but there's a lot of online tools. But I would say start with your local nonprofits, start with your local banks, your local credit unions, and your own local resources, your own broker, your own lenders. They will guide you and they will empower you.
That's a good one. Now, you mentioned something, you were saying that you were listing all the free resources that people can use to get on the path of homeownership, and you mentioned My FICO, and it made me want to ask, what is the difference between a FICO score and a Vantage score? Would you be able to touch on that?
I can touch briefly on it. Yes, like there's a bunch of different algorithms to calculate your credit score. There's usually between 8 and 9. Well, the most common one is going to be the FICO. That is just an algorithm based on numbers. The credit score ranges between 300 and 850, depending on the credit bureau company, maybe 330, 830, but that's kind of like the range. So the advantage score is more like a classification. It's more like A, B, C, D, and F. It's more like a school grade per se. So the advantage score, if you have a score on certain range, you might get an A. Your A tier, your A credit. Whether you go maybe 1 point down, you can go into the B section or the C section. So it's very like cut and dry. It's very black and white. When you have the FICO score, it's more of that range. Then the lender can determine, okay, so you're almost there to be in that top tier of excellent credit. Your score should be 740 plus. Maybe you have a 738, maybe you have a 739, and they can say, this person is so close, like you need to get the best loan product that we have out there. A couple of points is not going to make it or break it for you. So if they use different model, you can use at your own advantage. The two, one is more like a number system, the other one is more like a grade system.
Okay. Can you share a success story from your work with that nonprofit that you work with that really
Absolutely.
stood out with you?
Absolutely. I give you fact one. Not right now I'm working as a director for this organization, but I started actually as a coach. I started working in this organization as a small business coach, then transferred into homeownership. That's my passion. One of my very first clients, they're actually from Venezuela. They came to meet with me. They wanted to work on their credit. Their credit was bad. They were looking to, at some point, create a business. So we were able to help the client improve their credit score about 80 points. It took around 3 to 4 months. Client improved their credit score. They were able to qualify for an SBA loan as a young entrepreneur to launch a business, a restaurant, in fact. After 2 years, they say, okay, now we are ready for homeownership. Well, 2 years later, hit at the same time. So while they're looking into, I'm buying a house, my credit's on point, I have my savings, my business is already established for 2 years, so I know I can use my taxes and my business income to buy a home, have it hit. Panic strike. What are we going to do? We don't know when we're going to open the door of the business again. Well, we help the client to coaching through SBA programs. So that way they get a grant from SBA, they can cover the employee salaries, they can get a grant for the business, so the business will continue growing. It took a little bit longer, but when we have a better view of the situation with COVID a year later, they actually reached a dream and they bought a home. So they improved their credit, opened their business, financial freedom, they became their own boss. The biggest disaster in the United States in the last probably 50, 60 years strike being COVID, and they were able not only to survive, but to excel, keep the business, buy a house, and they're doing amazing today.
That's a good story. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that.
You know.
Lastly, we are coming down to the end of our time together. How
Yes.
can folks reach out to you if they want to get started on their journey?
Absolutely. You have a few options. I'm in social media. You can go to my LinkedIn profile. You can also reach me on my email, Nathan Beauchamp at hotmail.com. That's my personal email directly. And by phone, you can call me 305-213-4796. More than happy to help anyone out there.
Okay, so what were your handles for your social media?
We have, I will send you all I have
Okay,
a LinkedIn profile. We have an Indeed profile. I will send you everything.
okay,
But, but
perfect.
the fastest one is going to be email. As you
Okay.
know, we're both super busy in our industry. So If we're not on the phone, we're answering emails. So my email is my first and last name, Nathan Beauchamp at hotmail.com. On my cell phone, 3 text, open 20.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Nathan, for being on the show. It
You're
was a pleasure
welcome.
having you. I look forward to doing another workshop with you. So please keep me in your mind because I'm going to reach out to you
Will
because you
do.
give some great information.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome. Thank you. And you had it here, Nathan Beauchamp.